is my honor to introduce Dylan Kaufman-Obstler, who has been working for the Boston Workmen's Circle.
One of my favorite stories growing up is the story of how my grandparents met. They met at a dance in New Orleans, and upon being introduced, they both lied to each other about their last names. My grandfather said his name was Sidney Ravel instead of Sidney Kaufman, and my grandmother said her name was Eileen Shaw instead of Eileen Schwartz. And I've heard the story over and over again. My grandfather loves to tell it, and he always tells it as a story of fate. This year, in one of our joint sessions, one of the topics of conversation is anti-Semitism. And the room feels really uncomfortable. People are kind of shifting in their seats and hands across chest and eyes downcast at the floor. And we're all sharing stories and experiences, and I chime in and say, I really don't think my life has been impacted by anti-Semitism in any significant way. In the following days and weeks, though, I realized something that I do consistently, and that is when somebody asks me where I work, I don't like to tell them I work for a Jewish organization. I usually say, oh, I'm an organizer at a nonprofit, and then if they ask more, I'll say, oh, the Boston Workmen's Circle, and then if they really want to know, I'll say, well, we're a Jewish organization that has ties to the labor movement, and we have all the socialist history, and we were started in 1900 by sweatshop workers, and I add all this additional information as though to distract from the Jewish part. So a couple months ago, I'm on the phone with my grandfather, and I asked him, I say, Grandpa, have you ever experienced anti-Semitism? And he says, no, never. And I think about this story of when he lied about his last name. And I think about how my reluctance to tell people I work for a Jewish organization, and for the first time I make a connection between these experiences. And I realize that there is discomfort for me and discomfort in my family around being Jewish, and it actually feels really significant. So I'm learning to be unapologetic about my work in the Jewish community, and I'm realizing that this is really important for making space for other people to claim proudly all of who